It's better for me to spend 2 hours praying every night and recreate my destiny than to sleep for that 2 hours and suffer for 30 years.
It is not a crime to be single. It is a lifetime opportunity.
I think the most confusing question in Christianity and in Christendom these days is who a pastor really is. Now, it has been off and on that people like Joshua Selman and people like Femi Lazarus are not seen like pastors these days. According to this Instagram post, the person claims that each time he or she sees or hears about Apostle Joshua Selman or Femi Lazarus, that they see motivational speakers and not pastors. Now, before I say anything, one other pastor that has also been part of this whole argument is none other person than Dr. Abel Damina. And in this particular interview he granted the TVC News, he spoke a lot about it. It's like a kind of 30-minute video, but just for context purposes, I just pulled out this particular part of the interview. So let's just listen before I say the two things that I actually want to say, because to me, these people are pastors. But let's just continue.
In himself. So we say the Bible is a Christocentric material that carries with it a Christocentric message. That is, the 66 books of the Bible are tied together by one message, one character, and the emphasis of the book is the Christ himself.
Before he continues, he just made it point clear that the Bible, and by extension, the church, should have the same message, which is Christocentric. But I think that's a kind of a very broad and large word and a very heavy word, because I don't expect any pastor to be preaching the same message every day. I don't expect every pastor to be preaching about Christ, or okay, give your life to Christ, give your life to Christ. There are thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of pastors on earth. I don't expect them to be saying the same thing and repeating the same thing. And judging by what he said, the Bible is Christocentric. That's true. But everything that happened in the Bible, everything that's written in the Bible, some of them are historical, some of them are relationship based, some of them are wealth based, some of them are wisdom based, some of them are teaching based. So, and there are portions of the Bible that you will read, you wouldn't see anything mention Christ there. It's just about people who related to each other. Sometimes it's just about history. So that's also what I believe should be practiced in this generation, because there is no way you will tell every pastor to be preaching the same thing. Just like there are many authors of the Bible, and all of them had different ways of conveying a particular message, which is the message of Christ. So, and by inference, we are saying, okay, their messages today are about Christ. So also should pastors of this generation be. So when people go out and call people like Joshua Selman or Femi Lazarus motivational speakers, oh God, I think that's really a kind of laughable, but let's continue.
So we say the Bible is a Christocentric book, a message that is centered on the person of the Christ. It's not a message on prosperity.
Okay.
It's not a message on get rich quick scheme. It's not a message on other things. It is centered on the person of the Christ. And the mission of the Christ is salvation. Matthew 1:21. You shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Jesus, for he shall save his people from their sin. So Jesus came for a specific mission, to cure what man does not have the ability to cure.
Okay, before I say anything concerning what he said, first of all, let's ask the question, who really is a pastor? Yeah, because I think we are getting a lot of things mixed up here. And according to this article on Wikipedia, it says a pastor is a leader of a Christian congregation who gives advice and counsel to the people from the community or congregation. As simple as that. And these people, they are offering nothing short. They are offering nothing less than an advice. So that qualifies them to become a pastor. Now, I know you may argue a kind of, it's not biblical, it's not scriptural, it's not spiritual. But even from the spiritual point of view, pastors are seen as shepherds. And as shepherds, you give your sheep what the sheep needs at a particular time. You don't keep on feeding the sheep a particular meal. You don't keep on feeding the sheep a particular nutrition for the rest of the sheep's life or for the rest of the flock's life. You tend to the sheep according to the season and period of the sheep and the flocks. So these people who we are calling today motivational speakers, they are also tending to us according to the season and generation we are in. And by the way, I've never heard them preach against Christ. By the way, I've never seen them say, okay, Christ is not the way. I've never seen them say anything. And at the end of the day, they are crediting what they are saying to any other person other than Christ. They are teaching people what to make them survive in this time and in this season. That's one. Secondly, one of the reasons why people keep on calling these guys motivational speakers is because of what you and I are actually doing. Because the clips that fly around that qualifies these people as motivational speakers are barely 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, at most 60 seconds. And these clips are just pulled off from messages that are sometimes up to an hour 30 minutes, 2 hours. So people sit down, listen to these clips, and the ones that resonate to them, they cut it out and share it on social media instead of you and I to go listen to the complete message. I mean, we now put the blames on the pastors themselves. Come on, it doesn't make any sense. It's just like what Andrew Tate also suffered from interviews that he granted that are up to 2 hours, sometimes an hour 30 minutes. People cut out 30 seconds and a minute, and they judge him based on 30 seconds. I mean, go to the Bible. There are different instances of even Jesus himself. He comes to people and he relates to those people according to their particular need at that point. I mean, he met the Samaritan woman, right? Now, I'm not a particularly Bible person or completely a religious person, but Jesus met this Samaritan woman at the well. He had different other messages that he could preach to her, but he decided to stick with what the woman knows, which is divorce and well. So do we now say that, okay, Jesus is also a motivational speaker because he was dealing with that woman according to the woman's knowledge? It's also littered across the Bible that God relates to us according to the level of our knowledge. So calling these people once again motivational speakers or saying that they are not pastors because their message is not based completely on Christ is wrong. Because like I said from the beginning of this video, you don't expect every pastor on earth to be saying the same thing. There always has to be different nuances to different things, whether it's in technology, in business. There are always different parts to anything. Even Apostle Paul says something that he does something and Apollos, he plants and Apollos waters, but it's God that makes things to grow. So that there are pastors that their complete message is based completely and wholly on holiness and righteousness, and other people must not be preaching the same thing, but together is to make a one whole, which is Christ. So discrediting other people just because they are not saying what you want to be hearing, come on, there are people who are also saying what you want to hear. So just listen to them, because these people, for me, are qualified to be pastors because they are playing the complete role of pastors. They are tending the flocks according to the needs of the flocks. So if the flocks decide, okay, this is what I want to be running after, then they are not to be blamed, right? So people like Abel Damina, who I have a very, very, very great respect for, these people like Femi Lazarus or Apostle Joshua Selman should not be discarded because they, quote unquote, are not saying what you want to hear. I mean, if you want to listen to them, they have messages that last up to hours and hours and hours, and you just want to listen to just 30 seconds or 60 seconds and make up your mind about them. Come. That also shows how dead our attention span has really become. Thank you for watching. If you watched up to this point, please like this video, subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to ring the notification bell so you don't get to miss out on any of our updates. Till I come your way again, P for peace.